Treasure is known as one of the earliest pioneers of the stylish and unique action game. As of now, Treasure is technically inactive and has not made a game for about 6 years, with their last release being Geist Crusher God, a contract game for Capcom. Ever since, the company has turned to Twitter, citing links to interviews they've done or reminiscing about old projects. Fans, on the other hand, hang on to a glimmering hope that one day Treasure would announce a brand new game. When or if this will ever happen, only time will tell, but I'd like to fill that void for fellow fans, if only temporarily. That's why, over the years, I've scavenged through the internet to find games that have been inspired or play like what you expect from this awesome company. These can range from fan games to ex-employees working on spiritual successors. Today, I'd like to show you some of these. Let's check them out. First up is Kitan Iwanaga, a doujin game created by Utuburune, aka Buster. Iwanaga is what you get when you combine the aiming system of Sin and Punishment and the gameplay mechanic of Alien Soldier. The game has an interesting setting, and TV tropes summarized it real well. Long ago, there were two lineages from a goddess, one of flower and one of rock. The children of rock called themselves the Old Order and tried to exert control. During the Showa era, such stories were lost to myth until a village was discovered with some interesting tales to tell. In particular, there were stories about a conflict near the location of a modern dam. This game shows what might have happened long ago. When you start Iwanaga, you can select between 3 difficulties: easy, normal, and hard. Depending on what difficulty you select, you'll face different bosses and enemies. After that, you proceed to a screen allowing you to test out the controls. Alien Soldier fans will immediately see the resemblance. It plays a lot like it, frankly, having the ability to change between fixed and free mode, a double jump, shot change, sword, and a great dash move. The actual gameplay is a tad bit different. You see, it's a boss rush game with auto-scrolling segments and bullet hell patterns. The player has 2 weapon types, an orange shot and a blue shot. The more you shoot of each bullet causes this bar to fill of the opposite color. As your initial color depletes, the shot becomes weak, so managing shots is key. Gathering orbs from destroyed enemies increases your dash gauge and flashes rapidly when full. When this happens, you can do your special dash, damaging anything caught by your blue streak. Your sword attack is mainly used to absorb bullets, as the patterns are spread shots. The player's hitbox is small, so it's possible to dodge them in a pinch, and also while jumping. The player is also timed, sort of. You see, Iwanaga begins with a small timer on the player's status. To increase time, you have to kill bosses effectively and quickly. During intermissions, you'll also have a chance to get back time and health. If you let the timer reach 0, your character loses health gradually. I suggest starting out on easy mode to practice. On this mode, the bullet change is disabled, giving you a chance to simply complete the game. I don't consider myself an expert at Iwanaga, but after playing it for a while, I managed to figure some of this stuff out. Iwanaga is challenging and takes practice to get good at, but it's a high recommendation for those who are seasoned. It's great. Next up, I have Panzer Bandit, an awesome 2D beat-em-up in the same vein as Guardian Heroes. This game was developed by Phil in Cafe, who was responsible for titles like Mad Stalker and Oscar Burning Fest. When you start, you can pick between 4 characters and progress through 4 stages at first. Once you complete these, you move on to 4 more stages, making it a total of 8. Each character has a weak, heavy, and special attack along with their sidekick. Sidekicks act as your special move and are useful in extending combos and juggling enemies. Mashing buttons can be fun, but getting creative with your attack strings is the real meat and bone of Panzer Bandit. The special gauge fills up the more attacks you land and enemies you defeat. If you let your gauge fill up entirely, you can perform a stronger version of your special. Traditional fighting game inputs can be done to trigger trigger moves, but a lot of these are already binded to your L and R buttons. You can also block by standing neutral, and clashes activate when the same type of attack is dealt by the enemy and player. Japanese text is present, but considering the kind of game it is, you don't need to know any. In my opinion, Panzer Bandit has one of the most satisfying game feels I've ever experienced in a beat 'em up. People who are into fighting games will also feel right at home. If you played this game already and want more, check out Mad Stalker Full Metal Force. It's a remake of the X68000 original and uses the same engine as Panzer Bandit. Physical copies are real expensive these days, so emulation is a fine alternative. For the next game, I have Antman 2, a PC run and gun by Namilsoft and Gravity. You can tell very easily that this is a Gunstar Heroes clone, and frankly, there is nothing wrong with that. When you start, you can pick between two characters, a guy with a cool suit and Gunstar Red. After that, you are greeted with a strange FMV and off you go. Gameplay wise, it's like I said, plays much like Gunstar with a little hint of Metal Slug. The melee moves for Gunstar Red are pretty sweet, and I kinda wish it was in the game it tried to copy. Graphically speaking, Antman isn't too bad. The player sprite is nicely animated, and many of the bosses have that signature multi-joint sprite animation. Music is surprisingly good, and is reminiscent of Katsuhiko Suzuki, a former composer at Treasure. Antman 2 isn't the perfect running gun. There is a good amount of jankiness, faulty hit detection, and insane enemy placement in later parts. However, at its core, there is heart to be found. I think for that alone, it's worth checking out. Big thanks to Colonel Sandwich for sharing this one on his Twitter and handing me the game files. He has his own game called VHR, an arcade-style racer. If you are into that genre, you should check out the demo he put out. While Antman definitely reeked of Gunstar, Steamheart is a real homage to it. It was created by Sinclair Estrange for Lumdare's Game Jam. Anyways, Steamheart is extremely good, and as the creator describes it, a long-lost Mega Drive game. It's exactly what you expect. Great graphics, music, awesome bosses, and lots of exaggerated explosions. The good stuff. The player can pick up several weapons and carry 3 at once. Also present is a dash that can be nifty in boss fights. Obviously, this guy is a real big Treasure fan, because there are little details like sound effects borrowed from classics like Alien Soldier and Dynamite Headdy. What else can I say? Steamheart is great, but there is a heartbreaker. It's only one level. Yeah, I know. It sucks, but despite this, it's lengthy enough with a few boss battles in between transitions. Such a shame that this isn't a full product, but still shows how talented fans can be. If you're interested in what the creator is up to these days, I left his Twitter in the description. I hope you found a new kick-ass game to play, and if you enjoyed the video, tell me what you think by commenting. Later.